Hello, everybody. How is everyone? Hope you're all right. And here we go. Looks great. Hope everybody's all right. Here, we are starting our second wave of COVID. So Montreal passed from a yellow status to a orange status, which is the alert range. So let's hope things don't go too bad. Welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave Radio Live show. We are here twice a week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, at 0 hours Universal Time. We are Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 20 hours UTC. And we talk about radio, that ancient art of listening to invisible waves. So maybe someone's going to say it's fake news, it's invisible. It doesn't exist, but it does. Welcome aboard, everybody. 10 questions that I got this week. I thought that could be fun. 10 questions that I've got this week that I thought, okay, I answered. I'm going to answer in the live show also. But we're going to start by saying hello to everybody. And here it is, just as the show starts. That's what I wanted. That is an Insider machine. So today there was a new Insider, a new Windows 10 Insider build. So I was waiting for it to start. It took a long time to install. So I can start the SDR at the same time. So welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And you are most welcome to one of the most wonderful, fantastic, incredible groups of radio fans in the world. So welcome, and hope you enjoy. So today, now I've gotten my beer. I was like, everything is last minute today. I just got beer. I had to go and and get a beer. So Rickard's White with some, of course, you need some orange with that. So that's what I got. Where I went to, the place I went to didn't have a lot of choice. So that's pretty much why I chose this. Beautiful day here in Montreal today. Beautiful day in Montreal today was about 70, and we're gonna get even to maybe 80 on Saturday. So it was about 22 degrees Celsius today. They're expecting maybe 25, 26 Celsius on Saturday. So that is kind of cool. That is cool. And we got to take it because apparently next week at the start of October, it's going to be kind of cool. We're going to have temperatures barely making in the 60s. So that's going to be different. But, we're getting into October and colder temperatures are on their way. That's for sure. Because someday we'll have something that's called winter. Somebody wants to say hi. And here it is. Mr. Paul is in the house. But, of course, he spent the last 2 hours outside. So now he's cleaning himself before he takes a little nap. So Mr. Paul the cat is here. and hope that everybody enjoys the show today. So my name is Gilles, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. And we are here to entertain and have fun and talk about radio. So this is going to be another live show. And of course, I've got my 10 questions. And because of the 10 questions, I've got some radios with me because some of those questions are related to radios. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm also going to talk about what's coming this Friday. Hopefully, if there's no delays or anything, this coming Friday, I'm getting a nice little new toy. We're going to talk about that. We have a chat room with wonderful people that are super helpful, super cool, super fun. The kind of people you want to have around when you're starting a hobby and you just don't know how it works. And Shortwave has its own little, quirks and awkward things that you're like, what? I don't understand the thing. Plus, you get that radio and it's like, what are all these little buttons for? So well, this is a great place for that because a lot of people here are amazing people that will help you out. I'll try to help you out. And what is fun here is that everybody is welcome. Everybody is at the same level. What I mean by that is not in the knowledge. There are some experts out there. There are some newbies out there. But we are all at the same level in being friendly, fun, and helpful with each other. That's, I think, probably the number one reason why you are here and why the Facebook group is so nice. People that don't pretend to be better than others. They just want to help and want to share their knowledge when somebody asks a question. And the day that it goes berserk and everybody gets, are idiots, I'm going to stop doing this. As long as everybody's nice and everybody's just want to help each other and not pretend to be better than any others. When this is over, well, there's a Facebook group that has the same name as the channel here, official SWL channel, with, once again, amazing people that are here for fun and to enjoy our hobby, basically. And that is what's important. And man, I wish I had that when I was starting in 1982. A bunch of people, or at least some neighbors, that knew what this was all about, rather than not knowing a thing about what the hell. Something fell down and I don't know what. This is weird. Anyways, just having people that are helpful and could, direct me in a certain direction. It took a long time before I had real good knowledge and real good information about what I was doing. And I mean, so many things that I thought were a certain thing and it wasn't. It came to me something today. I was tuning in one of the frequencies of, for those that are old timers that listened to Shortwave in the 70s, 80s. I still remember that one of the like almost 24-hour frequencies of Radio Moscow was 11840. 11840 in the summertime was a hard one to get, but starting with the equinox and through the winter time, it was almost I could hear it almost all day. And and they were probably pumping 500 kilowatts in there, so that also helped a lot. And I get that question so many times. Does the weather change what propagation of radio signals? And on shortwave, because it does in certain parts of the spectrum. Anyone that has satellite television, notice that when it rains hard, or snows, they lose satellite reception. There's a reason for that. On the very high frequencies, because of the very short wavelength, snowflakes, raindrops attenuate the signal a lot. They absorb a lot of the energy. But on shortwave, with very long wavelengths, it doesn't really interfere much. If it does, it's so little, it's so subtle that it just doesn't show. And but I understand why it's a common myth that when it's raining, maybe it's better or maybe it's worse, or because I remember in the 80s, and it was probably just by chance. 11840 for Radio Moscow seemed to come better when it was raining. And I had the impression that every time it was raining, it was better. But it was probably more of, propagation changes all the time on shortwave. You can't associate, oh, it's raining today, I'm receiving that better, it's the rain. It doesn't work like that. It's not as simple as that. What you noticed after a certain amount of time is, propagation changes not just day to day, sometimes hour to hour. And so it might be just by chance it's better on that rainy day. Because below 30 megahertz, there's no real correlation of signal increase or decrease in a rainy day or a snowy day or a beautiful sunny day. Not on that frequency range, at least. Like I said, on higher frequencies in the UHF and above, yeah, you start to see that effect, but not on shortwave or medium wave. So it's one of those questions, you get, and you're like, yeah, I can understand why maybe you have a feel that sometimes you've been, listening 3 times in a row to a signal, and it's like, oh, it's always better when it rains. Yeah, it's by chance. I'm not saying that there's no interaction. Like I said, it's probably so small that I don't think we can actually perceive it necessarily. Anyways, today, 10 questions that I got through the week, so we're going to go slowly through that. Dr. Sisop, nice to have you on board. Bobby Burgess from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA, WA5107 SWL, nice to have you here. Joshua Gosnell, nice to have you here, Joshua. Always nice to have you on board, my friend. Mark Cope, nice to have you here from Dallas, Texas, WA5153 SWL. The 5 Youngs, nice to have you here from Elmira, New York. And 2QQE. Matt, MDK2 from Denver, Colorado. Nice to have you here. Hecadarius, nice to have you on board. Max Edstrong, nice to have you here from Michigan. I was about to say Colorado. Michigan, USA. Nice to have you on board. No, not yet for the 990. It's supposed to be on Friday. It's still on Friday according to the FedEx. Shady Pyro 90, nice to have you here. Bill, nice to have you on board from Seattle. Artist Autocrafters Kitchen from Massachusetts, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Yeah, FedEx Express here too for the 990. But it has to go through the US for some reason. I hate companies that have to go through another country to come here. I actually hate FedEx. I had so many stories with FedEx that until I get it in my hands, you know what? I still am a little I'm a little I'm like I just hope it just gets here. In the last year, 3 FedEx items never arrived. I actually had to ask for a refund from the seller. I've read a lot of bad stories of FedEx being very, very bad at what they do, and especially at I like the good old here in Canada. I like the good old send it by regular post, like Canada Post or U.S. Postal Service. I've always had a great experience with that. Plus, all these companies, FedEx, UPS, are super screwy with sending packages in Canada. They always have that bill at the end with like, oh well, you owe us $67.44. Yeah, why? Can you explain why? Yeah, because you're gonna screw me. And I've always, FedEx for me is and the top worst carriers that exist. Right next to UPS. UPS is the top worst carrier that screws everybody. What else do we have? What else do we have? So, anyways, we're gonna check it out. I'll be testing it when I get it here. And Dr. Sisop, I forgot to look at the firmware version because you can see the firmware version. Go on the internet and make sure you got the correct firmware version because that FM bleed through is one of the fixes they were supposed to have on the pre-production product that they would do a modification on the circuit board. So I don't know if you can check to make sure that you have because everybody that has a 990 that's not a 990X, no one that I've seen yet has a production model. They have the pre-production model. So make sure you got the real one. And it's very important to check it out because there is a difference, a huge difference. They made a revision on the circuit board and they made a revision on the firmware for some bugs while you're tuning around. Apparently there were some weird things. So just make sure you've got the correct one. I mean, maybe the FM bleed through exists still on it or something, but it's very important to check it out because if you bought it from anywhere else than an Onco, you have a good chance of having the 300 pre-production run that came out last year. Actually, it was as long as that. They came out in around Christmas time. And they had a lot of problems that they had to fix on it. So just make sure you got the right one, Dr. Sisop. I have to check out because there's a way to see the firmware version apparently, and with the press of a few buttons, and you'll see that there is a pre-production firmware version and a post-production or a production firmware version that has a number that's more advanced. And when I get it, I'm going to actually do videos about this to make sure that everybody gets one. You can verify that for sure. James Farley, nice to have you here from New Jersey. Nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Eyebrawler, nice to have you here from Arkansas. Mongoose, nice to have you on board from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. WF7I Homebrew, nice to have you here from Virginia, working some 40 meters. Cool. Hope you're having fun, and there's a lot of signals out there. Keegan, XN80Xer, nice to have you on board from Northwest Arkansas. Joe, nice to have you here from Newmarket, Virginia. Joe Sombra Newhouse from Brazil, nice to have you here. Michael Sauter, nice to have you on board. Drink plenty of beer. Alcohol kills the coronavirus. So cheers, everybody. William Helms, nice to have you here from Florida. Joe Tyson, nice to have you on board from Apex, North Carolina. Shady Power 90, woohoo! The PL600 just finished charging. Cool. What else do we have? Yeah, that was because I'm running that computer here is my insider machine. So it's running a future version of Windows for insiders that we get every week, usually on Wednesday. And I was a little late in actually making the update today, so that's why it was not totally over when we started the show. But now it's running. What else do we have? Moria 330, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Joe Rotman, nice to have you here from the Chicago area. What else do we have? Let's try to go down. Rufus Newt from Laurentian Valley, Ontario. Nice to have you here. We came very close for frost this week. I mean, I got up to pee on, I think it was Monday morning, and my weather station here was showing 2.9 Celsius, which is like 30-ish something, 35, 36 Fahrenheit. So we were very close for our first frost. But I'm not sure. Here in Montreal, before October, it doesn't happen very often that we have our first frost. James Johnson, nice to have you on board from Illinois. Jeff King from Jacksonville, Florida. Prasad, nice to have you here from India. And hope you are fine and happy 62nd birthday, my friend. Charles William, nice to have you here, my friend. Nice to have you here. Let me just try to find a place where I was. Okay. From San Diego. Good evening. Kelly, nice to have you on board from Arizona. We have Alexandra. Nice to have you here from Elkford, British Columbia, Canada. Nice to have you here. Glenn Zeckman from Tennessee. Frank Ireland. Nice to have you here. Randy, Riverside, California. Nice to have you on board. Tony Fuego. Nice to have you here. Strangest things you've heard on Shortwave. Depends what strange means, but there's so many things on Shortwave that were weird. Starting from just the sounds of Shortwave. I still remember being kind of spooked at being alone at home when I was starting Shortwave in 82, 83. I was 13, 14 years old in a very gray, dark winter day, and hearing some signal on Shortwave, and with the drifting that the DX100, realistic DX100 would do, it sounded so weird. Kind of spooked me out a little bit. So it was kind of, there's all sorts of things like that. Spooky things there's, anybody that listens to Shortwave for a while, I think can get easily some very weird stuff that you just don't know what it is. And I don't think we'll ever know 100% of all in there. Imagine all the things in that spectrum that we just don't know what it's all about, and where people are, and what it is there. It's just incredible. Keisha Escape, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Hirofumi Yokoyama, nice to have you here from Japan, my friend. Shelly, nice to have you on board from Pennsylvania. Pretty cool. Joseph Aikenbaum, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? What else do we have? Well, I beg to differ, Dr. Sisop. A lot of people like their Baofengs, I can tell you that. They're awful to program and to kind of understand the programming, but I can tell you there's a bunch of guys out there that are going to tell you for the price, they're pretty surprising. You got to stop bashing on China. China does some amazing things also. It's not just crap. And you got to put it with the price, For the price that a Baofeng costs, it's actually an amazing little radio. I always put price and performance in perspective when I talk about a radio. I will tell you it's crappy like the ICOM ICR30, because at $1,000, it shouldn't act like that. But if the ICOM ICR30 would be $100, $199, I'd say, well, no overloads, but for $200, you got a lot of bang for the buck. It would be a different game. I tried to put my perspective of money versus what you have in your hands. And what's nice with the Baofeng is, well, you know what? It's a cheap way for people that don't have money, because it's important to never forget. A lot of people don't have the money that some of us have to buy a radio. And I got to tell you, that Texan PL 990X better be at least a minimum of quality, because Canadian dollars with taxes and everything, it's going to have cost me close to $400. And that means that I will have spent of my own money, because I had your donations, about $130, $140 of my own money for it. And but I will take in perspective that that's the price that it costs. If you're going to sell me a radio of that price, it's better worth that price. Because I keep in mind that I still, my number one radio for now is still the XH Data D808. Price versus performance, kind of hard to beat. I have to say that. Rick from Milwaukee, nice to have you here, my friend. Rufus Newt has a Tallboy Labatt Blue. David Bennett, nice to have you on board. Solarflex at 73. Yeah, there's a possible sunspot coming. Jared X, nice to have you on board, my friend. Jeff Barrett, nice to have you here. Of course, Shitty Pyro 90 is from British Columbia. Pagemaster, nice to have you here in Moore, Oklahoma. KC5VOY. WA5136SWL. Bob, nice to have you here from Northeast Ohio. Ray Mullen, nice to have you here, Ray. Keisha Escape. Yeah, FedEx is terrible. Slow company. Leave packages sitting in each hub so long. Bobby Burgess. My last package from FedEx never arrived. They issued a refund. Yeah, that's where it is, in Memphis, Tennessee. But you know what? They should just send it. They could just send it direct to Canada. I like places that go to Canada direct. You're shipping from Asia. Send that darn thing to Vancouver. Stop sending it to the US. Waste of time. Alexandra, nice to have you on board. Says Canada Post has been great in my experience too. Yeah, I'm here too. Bill, am I going to sell the PL990X if I don't like it? Nope. It will be part of my... If I don't like it, it will be part of my crappy radio experience. I have no ideas right now, so, yeah, well, U.S. Post Office is now slow because of all the stupid measures that a certain government took on them. Because they were pretty good, actually. And here in Canada, Canada Post is slower than it was in the past. I still remember that within Canada, when I was asking, like I was buying stuff on the internet in 2013, 14, 2015, a package from Toronto would easily take maximum 2 days, and it was here. I've been noticing that within the country right now, here in Canada, now it's like 4 days. And I'm not talking COVID time, because with COVID, now they don't want to give you a official time. Before COVID, it was already slower. So, Jim from Rhode Island, nice to have you here. And what else do we have? Marcos Antonio, nice to have you here. UPS stole a package from you during Black Friday. Lost in transit. Yeah, love it when that happens. The package I had from FedEx, and that's why I'm looking at it all the time. All the time. I had a package from FedEx, and I could trace it. And then it just disappeared, the tracing. And then it said, well, I don't know now when you're going to get it. It's like, what? It disappeared magically? So, it's crazy. What else do we have? What's that comment, Am Radio Extreme? What did I talk about that you don't like? Bobby Burgess never had a problem with USPS or UPS or FedEx when it comes to packages. Here, the problem is the fact that the packages have to come from one country to the other. You know, they have to come from US to Canada or so on. I think that may be the biggest problem. Maybe within the same country, maybe it's better. Because I've seen a lot of comments of things but I got 3 packages from FedEx that were just not, didn't arrive or was super complicated or it was like all messed up. So FedEx is like, Chris, nice to have you here from San Francisco. Estrella, nice to have you on board. Olivier, bienvenue de la France. Nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Well, of course I'm going to keep it. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh yeah, I'm Radio Extreme. I know that FedEx is the crappiest one with UPS, 2 of the crappiest companies in the world for shipping stuff. I can tell you that. But like I said, it could be from country to country. Coming from another country, FedEx is crap here. UPS is the worst. You never order UPS here. Never. I can tell you, I've had in the past 5 years more than 1,000 packages from all the different companies. And FedEx and UPS are always on top of the crappiest. But it could be a country to country thing. I never. When somebody tells me you're going to use UPS, I always say, forget it. I'm not going to buy from you. And from FedEx, I will probably say, no, you know what? Can you send it via regular postal mail? If you can't, forget it. RMDXer, I can tell you personal experience here. So I know what I'm talking about. If you're not happy, you can go somewhere else. I'm not in the mood tonight for anything like crap like that. What else do we have? Internet choppy. What else do we have? Oh, that's weird. Some kind of weird YouTube thing. Take care, Olivier. Stay safe. John Edwin Snyder. Nice to have you here from Texas. Dr. Sisop, WWV with 100 kilowatts. Sergio Cordero, nice to have you here. I've learned from your vids is that when it comes to antennas, sometimes less is more. Meaning an antenna with a tutorial on YouTube, but didn't work as well as simple cable. This is my when I have to talk about something about antennas, it's always go extremely simple. One of the top questions, it's not in my list tonight, but one of the top questions, what is it? It's what antenna should I use when I listen to shortwave? And I can tell you one thing. What antenna can I use or should I use when I listen to shortwave? Put a wire outside. Take a wire, any wire. It doesn't matter what kind of wire it is. As long as it's electrical wire, a speaker wire, any wire that is hanging around in your home. No fancy thing. You probably already have that in your home somewhere in a box because you took a telephone cable out or you took some kind of something you did and it's there. You kept it. Well, that's the number one thing you have to try. Number one, because it might just work. And it's not what works in a lot of, in all cases, but it's cheap And even if you have to buy the wire, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Get yourself some wire. Try it out. You might be very surprised to see that it's amazing, especially if you live in low noise environments. You know what? It is going to be, it might be just the greatest thing you got. And you might not need anything else. Like I always say, I got the loops here, like an MLA30 and so on, because in my case, in my environment, it is needed. It is needed. And I have noticed that a wire is so noisy that it's not the best. It improves somewhat, but it's not the best of what you can get. So basically, I will simply revert to something else. And I would say if a wire is no good, your best bet, because probably the wire, if it's no good, is because you have too much noise. The best second thing you should try is an MLA30 loop, because for the price paid, if you'll pay 40-ish US dollars, and it's not too much, it's not a lot of money in case it doesn't really work that well for you. Compared to like a W6 LVP. I would never tell anybody to buy a Wellbrook or a W6 LVP loop, for a portable radio. It's a nonsense. It's, the antenna costs 3 times the price of the radio. It might not be that great, but an MLA30, for most people that are watching that are actually using portables, the MLA30 is less than the cost of most radios and could be very surprising in certain cases. But the first thing everybody should try, the first thing, anybody that's thinking of what antenna should I put up, is, take a piece of wire, throw out the window. You have a tree on your yard, throw it in a tree, and look at what it does. I can tell you, it could be very surprising. Very surprising. Palestina, nice to have you here from Texas. Is that your year of birth? 1969? John Edwin Snyder, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Blind Picker, nice to have you here. Rob in Connecticut. W0RAB, blind ham. I can imagine how amazing a hobby is amateur radio and radio in general for a blind person. Being in contact with the rest of the world. What's nice about radio also, somebody a long time ago, somebody had sent me an email mentioning he had some, severe disabilities, and when he was in the real world, in this case was physical disabilities that made it difficult to go outside in the real world, and he was in a wheelchair and everything. And I remember the email telling me how that radio and amateur radio, because he was a ham radio operator, kind of helped him go through hard times, because radio, you don't see who's on the other side. And we have to admit, even if we could be the best that we want, when we see handicapped people, a lot of us, and I don't think it's being, you want to be negative or anything, but sometimes we have a certain way of thinking. And one of my friends that's in a wheelchair, and he's been in a wheelchair since a car accident when he was young. Always tells me, he says, I'm so freaking tired Because people, when they see me in a wheelchair, they think I'm mentally handicapped. No, my legs don't work, not my brain. And I tell him, I said, yeah, there's, I don't know, there's a way we see things. And for some reasons, some people will see somebody in a wheelchair and think that they're, it's not just physical. It's like they're, and I always tell them, I said, don't, I understand how it can be frustrating. Don't be too hard, because I don't think anybody does it in a bad way. They don't act like that or do what you hate because they want to be a bad person with you. It's the way it is sometimes. And so that person that had sent me that email, I remember saying that he was so happy with ham radio because he felt like he was a regular person. It's weird to say like that, but yeah, you're behind a radio. Nobody sees you. It's not television. It's not doing a live show on YouTube. And that person was happy with that hobby for that. It's like, nobody sees that I'm handicapped. Nobody sees that I'm, disabled of some way. They just react normally. I'm a normal person in ham radio. And I thought it was kind of nice that somebody could have a hobby that helped them, because that's the way it made them feel. That with the radio, it was cool, Rodrigo Galter, nice to have you here from Brazil, getting the 10,000 kilohertz PPE National Observatory of Rio de Janeiro. Let me try it here. Do I hear something on 10 megahertz? I'll just start that. Here we go. 10000. I'm hearing WWV. Oops. I don't know if I'm hearing anything else, but I'm hearing WWV, that's for sure. Michael Woods, nice to have you here. James Johnson's got the Bayo thing. Use it for GMRF radio, works really well. I could hit my repeater 35 miles away. What I hear of the Bayo things is how difficult they are to program, though. But for the rest, of course, for the price, you can't have a top performance, but Mind Jam, nice to have you here from New Hampshire. Nice to have you here. Tresson, nice to have you here from Newfoundland. Jeff Barrett, I think everything should be FedEx goes through Memphis. That's their main hub. Yeah, possibly. That's for sure. I like when things go direct, Yeah, so because Memphis is a worldwide hub, it's the best in the world. Yeah, right. FedEx is a piece of crap, in my experience. It could be fantastic, and you might have had your 300 packages, and it was great. I have the worst experience in the world. So you know what? Get the fuck out. Hector Plasmic, nice to have you on board. Alinco DXR8T, 80-meter long wire. Sorry, guys, but I have a short fuse tonight, and I have no place for idiots. I'm tired of that. Got a couple of hard days right now, so I don't feel like it. Jerry DX, Texan PL990 is a rebranded PL880. Hope it's good. No, it's not a rebranded. It is a really a different radio in its circuit. It's meant to replace the 880 probably. I think that's what they're trying to do with it. Anyways, I can't wait. I'm not putting my hopes too high. I'm not putting my hopes too high because um I don't want to get the 990X and be kind of disappointed. And so my hopes are at a level where, you know what, let's try it out. And I'm going to try not to have too much of a of not, I'm not going to hope too much, and we'll see. Glenn Zeckman, was you listening Monday at noon because 20 meters was open to Austria? You know what, Glenn? I was listening to, oh man, when was it? I was listening to 20 meters on, I think it's on Monday. And I heard at least 3 European stations making contacts mid-afternoon. Not even. It was like noon, 1 p.m. here. And I heard a guy in Italy. I heard a guy in, there was that guy Luis that we hear all the time from Spain. We hear him everywhere. And there's a third station. I don't remember the country, but I remember thinking, wow, this is kind of nice. Europe to North America is open on 20 meters in early afternoon. Actually, it was really cool. It was really cool. What else do we have? What else do we have? What's on tap today, says RFDXR. It's a Rickards White. Here's the bottle. Rickards White. Let me just check it out here. Where's Crafter's Kitchen? Show the United States Postal Service is the absolute worst. It's possible in the U.S. that it's bad. That I have no not a lot. My experience with USPS is because once it crosses the border, it comes to the Canadian Post Service, and so when it comes to the Canada Post Service, that's what I want usually, because with Canada Post, I'm fairly okay with it. But I've heard so many stories because I've seen a lot of stories about the United States Postal Service. So maybe it's like FedEx. I mean, he's offended because I say FedEx is the worst. Maybe it is the worst when you want to have a package come to Canada. That experience could be crappy, and that's the thing. Like UPS. I never want a package from UPS. Never, 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 never. From the US to Canada. Never. Never. It's the worst company. Anybody in Canada, actually, that gets packages from outside will all tell you UPS is the absolute worst. But it's a thing with maybe when you're getting your packages from the US, and that's the problem. I would have preferred, I got nothing against the United States. I would have preferred that the radio come to, with a company that, I would see that it's in Vancouver. Why the hell it has to go to the United States to come to Canada? I don't, But that said, it happens regularly. Even with the regular post, I've seen a few times that using regular postal service, A package might come from China and then stop in California before it's sent to Canada. They have their way of doing things. But FedEx, the experience I have, 3 times, you know? 3 times. It's not like it's 1 time out of 15. 3 times out of 3 times you used it because you had no choice and it's crap experience. You come to like, well, what the hell is that crappy company, But like I said, it's probably and possibly, when it crosses the border from one country to the other, a crappy experience. Within a country, it might be good. Canada Post, I've got a decent experience with them. They are slower today than they were 5 years ago, like I was saying earlier. But the experience is good. I don't have anything bad to say about Canada Post, except it is a little slower than it was. I don't know if there's more packages or something, but Here in Canada, Amazon has a lot of very, very small carriers. It's typically that guy that comes out of his car with a box, and you're like, "Huh? What? You got Amazon packages to deliver? Okay." It's almost like an Uber experience, DHL, I've had only one experience with them, long time ago. I remember being surprised because they had delivered a package on Saturday. But I think it's the only time I've ever received anything from DHL. And it's a long time ago. I think it could be a thing from border to border. That's the thing. Oh, Matt, I see the comments in light gray because I'm the top honcho. I can still see them, but in light gray. Nick, nice to have you on board. Says, yeah, I haven't had too much problem with shipping companies except for the whole back order delays because of COVID. Yeah, that's another story, and that is a different thing. I mean, with COVID, I sent a package to Sheldon Harvey that is near me. I mean, Greenfield Park is just south of Montreal, real close, and I took expedited, and they said, and I said, so can he, is he going to get it for in the next 2 days or 3 days? And the answer was just he's going to get it, but we don't promise any dates. And he did get it in the delay, but it was like, we don't promise anything. It was like, oh, okay, well, can't promise as long as he gets it, and he did get it. Javier Santiago Arenas, what's your opinion on the Degen DE 1103 DSP radio? I just got interesting offer from eBay. Look, I can't talk about it myself. I don't own one. The only thing I could say about it that is what is reflective on what some people, other people's comments on it. What I have heard is that it's not as good as a receiver as the original PLL version of the Degen DE 1103. Up to what extent, I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say because I don't have one to test. Yeah, he works at FedEx and got pissed off because I said it was bad. Eric Trell, nice to have you here, my friend. John McClure, nice to have you here. Palestafina says, my antenna is definitely unfancy. And you know what? That's perfect. Unfancy, if it works, that's all right. Hey, Brian Penny from the Adirondack Mountains of New York. Welcome aboard. So Eric went to Ham Radio Outlet today. They are following a limited number of customers in store. So cool. Did you buy anything? Did you get out of there with a lot of stuff? Graham, nice to have you here. The HL is a great package from Gigaparts. Come on last Sunday. Cool. Joe says, I have used one of those Radio Shack 75 feet antenna kits forever. I had one. I remember having, I think my first officially paid purchased shortwave antenna was a long wire kit from Radio Shack. Canadian radio TV guy. Shortwave always seems a bit boring. It's not boring at all. It depends what you want to listen to and how you do it. And this time of year is actually better than midsummer, honestly. I think it's maybe, I don't know what you're listening to and what radio you use, but I'm having great propagation. I spent 2 hours this afternoon just before supper and preparing for the live show tonight. And I mean, I was hearing tons of signals on there, and I was not using amazing equipment. I was using a Countycom GP5 and a little Ethon Mini, and it depends what you want to listen to and what's your interest, also, I think. So and maybe if it's noisy, you're not getting the full experience of what you could have on shortwave. Also, Canadian radio TV guy. Kish Escape says, I wish I could still use a wire. I need active loop now because there's a light bit of noise giving me troubles. Yeah. Wires are unfortunately less and less useful because of the noise in general, Frank Ireland, wonder if we'll be able to pick up some medium wave stations that are not 50 kilowatt stations from cities across the other side of Gulf of Mexico, like Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, from the beach in Florida. You got to, that's the kind of thing you've got to try regularly, even from your home location. Because I understand what you mean. Here, if I do a band scan here of medium wave, my band scan of medium wave is the big gun 50 kilowatt stations for the most part. But remember that the medium wave frequencies are divided into different categories. Some are clear channel, allowing 50 kilowatts. A lot of the frequencies on medium wave allow for very low power. These are the ones you got to stick with most of the time, because these are the ones that you'll have some amazing DX of low powered stations from far away. But for that, you have to try regularly. Medium wave propagation changes from night to night. Sometimes you might be surprised what you can get that you never get. I remember last winter, for the first time in my life, hearing Radio Rebelde out of Cuba on, I don't remember, one of the lower frequencies in the medium wave band. And I was like, wow, I'm hearing that. And I was so surprised. Ronald, nice to have you here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Regards to the new Texan PL990X, would you please compare it with the Texan PL680? Oh, I will, absolutely. I don't have an 880. I know a lot of people are expecting a review and and people comparing the 880 to the 990 because they are close cousins. Unfortunately, I don't have an 880. My closest cousin to it will be a 680. What I was planning to do and to compare is to compare the 990X with the PL680. The PL680 has a couple of things that go for it. The audio quality of the 680 is amazingly good. So that's going to be one first test. Comparing the audio quality already with the 680 will be an interesting thing. Synchronous detection will be the other way. 680 is rock solid and really good on the sync detector. So that's going to be another thing to test out. Is the sync detection as solid, as good? And for the rest, it will be comparing reception with good radios. So the 680, but also my Grenic G5 and possibly I think it's going to be a fair compare with how does it compare to an XH Data D808 that is a third of the price or roughly half of the price at least. I think these are going to be nice to compare. How does it compare and how does it work with a loop or a long wire, or it's going to be nice. What are the features that are going to be interesting? I got an email today from an Onco because they sent me a PDF explaining that there are hidden functionalities of the radio you can turn on that I will be looking at, of course. So they really are pushing the product a lot. I can't wait to have it in my hands. I honestly probably will be easy to be disappointed for me, because if it doesn't perform well, I am expecting a minimum out of it for the price that it's being purchased. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. Hey, Kevin Wood, nice to have you here. Yeah, I hope not too much damage. I saw I think it's the news. They said that that hurricane was not as bad as the last one you guys had. Hope that there's not too much damages there. Mike Jam, what about a 9-to-1 balance to the wire? Well, I have one here on my wire. Because that's to balance, honestly. That is made to balance between that is made to balance between like a 50 ohm input or IZ input in from a wire, most of it. So for a big radio that has a 50 ohms, regular 50 ohms input, that is to balance the antenna to the input, which means you should technically have less of a loss of signal. Some say they see a difference in noise from it. I don't see a difference, but I don't know. Maybe it depends on the setup and the way we're set up. Every setup is very unique and very different, honestly. Shitty Pyro 97, I'm thinking, should I get the new Texan PL990X for Christmas or my birthday? Decisions. Yeah, maybe wait for the review. If you want it, you want it, but maybe wait for the review, RFDXer, Walbrook's good antenna, better than the MLA30 overall, but a modified MLA30 Knowles better than the Walbrook. Yeah, but it's mostly a question of comparing the price also. I mean, for most people, a Walbrook is out of the range of what they want to pay. And to be fair, the MLA30 is darn amazing when you look at the price that it costs. It's a question of what the radio. If you own a $3,000 radio, it's not the same as if you own a $100 portable. And that's where you will choose an MLA30 over a Walbrook, for example. It's kind of interesting. I can say that here in my test, the W6LVP is in over. I wish it didn't have the medium wave filter on, because one place in my W6LVP loop, it's okay. It's about equal to the MLA30 in performance. The difference, though, is that in Canadian dollars, the MLA30 cost me 65-ish, 70-ish Canadian dollars, where the W6LVP cost me $500-ish. That's a huge difference. It's 10 times more. For performance here, that is pretty much the same. So I can't say to buy a W6LVP loop. I don't see why you should pay 10 times more. Where I do see a difference on the W6LVP, so mine has the filters on, because when I purchased W6LVP, one of the first things was to one of the first things that came up was to have the filters. Larry said, well, you got really strong, when I say I got strong FM stations, came back and said, you got really strong FM stations where you live. You got really strong stations. I would add the filters to remove the FM band and the medium wave band because I don't think you're going to be happy with the antenna. So I said yes. Maybe I should not have. I don't know. I have no idea if I did a good thing or not. It would have been nice if they would have been like switchable. I could remove them. Because the MLA30 copes very well. That's another thing. If you look at how strong the signals are here, and the MLA30 copes with that real well, that's also a surprising thing for the price. But that said, so I can't, below 1.7-ish megahertz, there's no more reception. It's really deaf. But I do notice when I compare my W6LVP on 160 meters, okay, it definitely beats my MLA30 by a good margin. So for a medium wave DXer, I think a medium wave DXer might say, oh no, W6LVP loop is definitely a lot better than the MLA30. And that I would say, well, you know what? I think you probably are right, because below 3 megahertz, the W6LVP loop starts to get a real good signal compared to the MLA30. The MLA30 seems to be, not deaf, but not as good when you get below 3 megahertz. Another place where it's maybe a little better is above, I'd say above 25 megahertz. When I listen to the CB band, or when I listen to some skip on 11 meters or 10 meters, the W6LVP seems to be a little better than the MLA30 is there also. But in the mid section, if I listen to shortwave, like from 4 to 20 megahertz, I see zero difference. I switch from one to the other and it's like, yeah, where's the difference? There's none. But like I said, the extreme down, it seems to be better, but that's for sure. Shady Power 90, still thinking of getting the MLA30, just need to find the connectors to go with it. Yeah, that's the probably the biggest problem for the MLA30 is because of its SMA connector. Finding the adapters that go to the 3.5 millimeters of portable radios, for example, that's a little more difficult. Matt, I'm definitely going to wait to see all the reviews now that the PL990X is in production. I've made do with my PL600 as my only portable, though my satellite 750 is a portable too for years now. Yeah. It's a question of I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm waiting to see how it's going to perform. That's for sure. Frank Ireland used to be director of quality for a company that made equipment for the blind. Some ham operators and shortwave listeners work there too. Oh, cool. It's that time when, radios, we want to have new radios. I'm just gonna... Yeah, Joseph Eckenbaum, ham radio space. No pressures or anything for disability. Absolutely. Kevin, nice to have you here, WS2H. And listening to Voice of Vietnam. On what frequency are you listening to Voice of Vietnam? On PL990X. What do you think of it? By the way, Kevin. Eddie Downing, nice to have you here from Connecticut. Twisted Radio. Hearing your show on 5145 USB. Really? 5145 upper sideband. Apparently somebody's there doing something. That's interesting. Am I still there? I see a trace. I see that there's something there. Oh, yeah, I'm hearing myself. There's definitely somebody rebroadcasting my show on 5145 upper sideband. So anybody listening to 5145 upper sideband, if you want a QSL, an EQSL, I will be sending an EQSL in the next few days to anybody that sends a report to official shortwave radio at gmail.com. So official shortwave radio at gmail.com. If you guys are listening in, you just need to do one thing, is to let me know in a way or show me somehow in a video and with a link, a picture, an SDR, whatever. If you can just show me that you were listening to 5145. I need a proof that you were listening to 5145. But if you do prove that you're listening in, a special EQSL card is going to come through the email in the next few days. So why not send a reception report? 5145 kilohertz upper sidebands. I am now live. Official shortwave radio at gmail.com is where you'll get that EQSL. And I want to thank whoever out there is actually rebroadcasting me right now at 0114 UT today. Nick, last week was all the speculation about the PL990. I think it's going to be too expensive initially for what it is, but I'm still curious about it, of course. You know, if it wasn't for the donations, I would not have purchased it at the price it is. But I got the donations. I went through and thought, okay, I'm gonna try that out. And I think it's gonna be nice to definitely check it out. Hey, Blind Picker. Yeah, you know, it's something that is we take for granted, you know, people that don't have disabilities or anything. So William Helms, why are you blocking Joseph Ickenbaum's posts? There's nothing bad in there. I don't see anything bad in there. RFDXer says, great, there's a chat, enjoy interacting. Yeah, well, you know, that's the fun part of the live show also, and the Facebook group at the same time. So Eric Cottrell says, hopefully after the COVID, we'll be walking in Memphis. VT Radio, nice to have you on board. Paul AA1SU checking from Essex Junction, Vermont. Repaired his 80-meter dipole last week, repairing his 40-meter dipole this week. So you know what? They are going to be ready for winter. Yeah. That's going to be nice. What else do we have? Jean-Marc Letz, nice to have you on board. Bonjour et bienvenue de Strasbourg, en France. In the middle of the night, you can't sleep? Nice to have you here for sure. Always cool to have everybody on board. Once again, live on 5145 upper sideband right now. So this is going to be cool. If you want to have a QSL, an EQSL card for tonight's show, official shortwave radio at gmail.com. Okay, what else do we have? JDX loves tuning knobs on the 880. 990 has the same. Yeah, they do look alike with the knobs on the right side. You're totally right. They really are like little cousins. It is really going to be interesting to see and compare them for sure, Jerry. No problem, Keisha Skip. That's my life. Being stressed out sometimes. A few little things happening, including taking care of somebody that has a lot of big health problems. So it's kind of it takes a toll on you from time to time. Tristan, less is more. One of my favorite sayings. Absolutely. And you know what? The least complicated things are, the better it is. What else do we have? Oh yeah, absolutely, Joe. Clearing customs. I'm not talking here of for the companies. I'm not talking about speed. I'm really talking about not getting a package because it stops tracking somehow, and you're like, "What? It's nowhere now to be found. Where the hell's that?" So I think we all have experiences with companies, and we don't all have the same experience with the same companies. If you had 10 times an excellent service from a company and I tell you it's crappy on my side, you're going to say, well, you're wrong. Well, I got it crappy on my side. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily crappy, but after 3 packages you start saying it is crappy. It's James Johnson says, that's like me, and the USPS always comes broken. Bobby Burgess, speaking of packages, I had my Wi-Fi system replaced. Equipment came today. Set up no time. Separate modem router, which was giving me problems. Cool. I hate the packages where the modem and the router are kind of together. Here, there's a new system. So the company that I am here, Videotron, they have a new system. And they're really, really pushing hard for me to get it. And they're trying to say, you should get that, system because, it's so much better. And, if you adopt that system, we're going to give you a $40 or $50 a month rebate for the next 3 years. Of course, I'm saving money. It's like, yeah, that could be cool. But the problem is, I have and always have had my own router for a simple reason. I do live shows and I do a lot of upload of videos and a lot of, I got Chromecasts that will cast stuff through the house. I need something that performs like crazy to keep up with what I do. And the only way that I had that working well is always with my own routers. I carefully choose which router I have when I actually buy one. So I'm afraid of moving to their own system because their own system is all integrated. The modem, the box actually that they plug into with the cable, it does everything. Internet, TV, all of it. And I'm afraid that it might not perform like I want it to perform. So I've been resisting their offer because it works great. And I don't want no one coming here and changing or touching anything. It works. Just leave it alone. I know I could save $50 a month, but you know what? It works great now. I don't want anybody touching that. You know what? You're going to put it here, and then everybody's going to start saying, hey, your streams are always, buffering or having problems or whatever. And I don't want that. I'm a very different user from most people. So it's a delicate thing to change what I have here. By the way, I'm 25 minutes slow in the chat room. I'm going to try to catch up here. Okay, Nick. Awesome on the air sign. Yeah, this is a gift from a few years ago from Brian Penny in Massachusetts. It's a beautiful, beautiful sign. Love it. Palace Athena says picked up Radio Nacional Amazona last night, 6180. Oh, it's been blasting through. 6180 is really, really strong here too. Canadian radio TV guy. Do you have any opinion on Canadian cable internet providers, Shaw, TELUS, Rogers, Bell? They're all screwing us up. That's my main opinion. As for the rest, I was a Bell customer, moved to a Quebec provider, which is called Videotron, for a simple reason. Bell, I always had tons of problems with Bell, and I moved to Videotron, and problems stopped. So, but here in Quebec, Rogers, TELUS, and Shaw are not very big. They're not big providers in here. Quebec, we are at Bell and Videotron and Cogeco, which are more local carriers. The only Rogers that I have, which is through Fido here, is my cell phone. But for the rest, I think the big deal in Canada is we're being screwed by these companies. It's way too expensive for what they offer, actually. Garger, nice to have you here from Ohio. What else do we have? Glenn, sorry, Shell, you need to blame the people at the border because they slow down. Yeah, but it's not a question of slow down. Like I said, it's not a question of being slow. It's really a question of I'm not getting my packages. And because, it tells you when you get like, for example, if I get a package from United States Postal Service, if I look at the tracking, it's going to say that it's stuck at the customs. It tells you it's at the customs. You understand that, and I understand that. Sometimes at customs, it's very slow. That's not where my ranting is tonight. My ranting is at the company itself losing your packages or just screwing up everything. Not on the length of time. If I don't get my PL8990X on Friday and I get it on Tuesday of next week, I'm not going to rant at that. That's what happens. That's not at all where my ranting is with FedEx, for example. Okay, what else do we have? Canadian radio TV guy, I meant it's a little depressing when propagation goes away, but I love shortwave altogether. Yeah, there are days, there are times when propagation isn't the best. And I totally understand what you're saying. It's when propagation isn't there and you tune around and you're like, yeah, there's nothing real cool to listen to, I totally get it. It's not real fun, honestly. So, what else do we have? Eric Cottrell had a Colombian station on 770 kilohertz. Wow. It overpowered that WCBS on 770 is WABC from New York. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Let me just check it out here. I'm going to do that. It should change something. William Helms, stop blocking Joseph Hickenbaum. There's nothing bad in what he's saying. Joe Sambrania, surprised with 10-meter HF handband this week. Got any signals by whole day, but the beginning at night, got some signals on FT8. Wow, that's cool. Take care, Keisha Escape. No problem, Mike Jam. Brian Ventenheimer, nice to have you here. Haven't tuned in months, but didn't want to miss out the PL990 bit. Yeah, and so you better be here on Friday, because if all goes well, I'll have it in my hands. I'll do an live unboxing. Marcos Abrajo, nice to have you here, says, talking about the new Texan models, by some reviews, I have seen PL990X and H501 are not a match to the Texan S2000 or the PL880 for most functions. Yeah, we're going to see, because a lot of those videos and most of those videos, actually, that I've seen are all on the pre-production. And apparently there have been some changes. So we're going to see. By the way, one of the questions that I got asked all the time is why they're an X. The X is for the export version. They actually include the power adapter for North America, where the non-X version has a power adapter for whatever country they're sending it to. So that's the main change. And that's pretty much it. Bill says, friends, again, watching on a 55-inch TV. Stay happy. We're eating popcorn. So, cheers, guys. Hope you're enjoying the show. Well, I just had it as added as a moderator, so I think he's gonna come. He's gonna be back. Be careful, guys, of who you. Yeah, I looked at it, but I don't have any. When I looked at it, there was no button for me to unhide him or anything. That's what I tried to do. Anyways, I made him moderator. Joseph Hickenbaum. Here it goes. Hey, Joseph Hickenbaum, you're a moderator now. I put you moderator. You're here all the time. I think you should be here. So welcome, Joseph. KC9KUH from Indiana. Nice to have you here. James Johnson says, yeah, this place is horrible. The electrical noise here has been heating appliances steady. Yeah. It's crazy. There are places that are so crazy. It's really crazy. Unfortunately, in some places we have to just what else do we have? Matt MDK2 says, when it comes to purchasing new receivers, I have to really decide what it is I want. I think I want a higher end SDR like the ELAD FDM S3, but a super portable would be nice for when I travel, whenever I can do that again. Yeah, questions. What do we do? We're not millionaires, so you got to choose. What do we buy? We can't buy everything. Lawrence Smith, nice that the RSP SDRs have a built-in notch filter for medium wave and FM. Absolutely. That's really cool. Matt can hear me in Denver, but it's faint. Cool. Remember, 5145 upper sideband. There's a broadcast of my voice. If you can prove somehow that you're listening in, send your reception report to official shortwave radio at gmail.com. And I will send in the next few days a special EQSL to anybody listening in on shortwave via 5145 USB. Kevin says he's enjoying the radio. The sync button seems buggy. Okay, well, it's going to be interesting to see. Matt says, I believe it's Sicko Radio. Likes to use this frequency and has relayed you before. Totally possible, and I want to thank whoever is behind us that is broadcasting my voice tonight. It's kind of cool to hear myself. I hear the delay is very, very short because I'm listening to my voice and I'm listening to it in the background, and there's very little delay between what I say and when it comes out there. I'd say about 2 seconds, not much more than 2 seconds. Canadian Radio TV guy, it's funny how Gilles is being rebroadcast on the 5145 upper sideband when someone in the chat here said they want to set up a pirate station. You know, one thing, Canadian Radio TV guy, don't ask too many questions. The least we know about things, the better it is, especially for pirates. Oh, man. What else do we have? Bob Bongoose, pretty cool being broadcast on HF. Absolutely. It's always fun. It is always fun. Kamaxi76, nice to see you on. Nice to have you on board. And it's always cool. It's always cool. What else do we have? RFDX, is there a difference between an Ethernet router and an Ethernet switch? Yes. A switch and a router are not the same thing. A router has a routing table that will actually be a switch and a router. The switch is simply giving a kind of a repeat of everything with IP addresses. So in a router is a switch, but the router also can reroute and has functionalities. A switch is kind of a dumb router. It will give IP address to the other computers around or devices, but in a switch, you don't have a menu or anything. The switch does it in hardware, and that's it. A router has the switch functionality. That's why you have all the devices still giving each IP addresses, but the router has more functionalities. It will have a firewall. It will have a menu for rerouting and for all sorts of functionalities that a switch doesn't have. Think of a switch as just a dumb router. No possibilities of just tweaking anything. It just assigns IPs of all the devices that you have around you. The router is an intelligent switch. It's a switch that you can control. I think that's the best way to summarize it in English. Ancient Smith, nice to have you here. Just got back into shortwave listening after a long layoff. Got a SDR Players PDX. Whoa, with a long wire. So much fun. He misses Joe Adamov on Radio Moscow. I feel you. Joe Adamov. Yeah, absolutely. I always loved Joe Adamov. It is very distinct way, his distinct voice and his distinct way of saying things and doing things. That's for sure. Keegan has, he says, on my Ethan Grenadier Edition satellite with SSB, checks 5145 and heard what sounded like Gilles' voice. Is that possible? So don't forget to send an email, okay? Because I'm not going to check what's in the chat room. Take the time to at least send me a little email saying, hey, I heard you on 5145 at this time. And if you want to have a EQSL in the next few days, okay? And I will answer back with a unique EQSL. Roberto Ramirez, PL 600, 5145. I kind of heard his voice when playing with the BFO knob on the SSB. Agent Smith, are number stations still active? I used to listen to the Lincolnshire Poacher numbers. Absolutely, the best place for number stations. Number stations is the preom.org website. That website has complete schedules and information on number stations all around. I use it all the time to check for some of the stations. A lot of still surprising the amount of number stations all around, I can tell you. Jason Burnside, great setup, great channel. Thank you very much. Shitty Paro 90, yes, number stations. Okay. Chuck Yunkin, nice to have you here. 73. Yarabamba, nice to have you here. Found a Texan PL 880 in Walmart online, of course. Really? They had a Texan PL 880 at Walmart. Wow. Okay. That doesn't happen often. We see a shortwave radio at a big store like that. I can tell you. Wow. There's a lot of them, Palestina. If you go to preom.org, you'll see that you can hear quite a few. Here in North America, of course, the most popular one is HM01 from Cuba. But if you look at the polytone, the Morse code and the polytone ones, M12 or oh man, what's the other one? XPA1 or XPB. They are easy to hear. They are digital transmissions, but they are easy to hear, and they come from Russia. Dr. Sisop has nothing on 5145. Yes, Mongoose, there's a pirate broadcasting my show from somewhere in the universe. Jason Francis, listening from the basement in Ottawa and having a ball. Cool. Try 5145 Upper Sideman if you can hear my voice. Pirate rebroadcasting. It's so funny because when we talk about shortwave radio, how many times we have or refer to people in, our man cave or basements or. So nice to have you here, Jason from Ottawa. James Johnson, what do you think of the Grundig FR200 shortwave receiver? Any ideas for antenna improvements? I have one here, which is the analog radio. It's okay, but you know what? It's a basic analog radio. It receives what's decent. I think antenna improvement, just clip a 10 feet piece of wire on it or something like that. So that would be what I would say. So yeah, pirate on 5145 upper sideband. Matt says there was very little delay between my video and my reception of 5145 as well, but I'm on Radio Northern Europe International via WRMI 5850 right now. Cool. Chuck Yunkin is hearing me on 5145. Cool. William Helms, K3FEF, SDR on 5145 upper sideband. All right, JDA Dakota. Jill, you a much larger audience. Yeah, I got a international audience on shortwave now. Nick has got 5145 USB, S5, S6 in Northwest Indiana. Take care, Palestina. What else we have? Charles Ethan, nice to have you here. You can hear me on 5145 coming through nicely. In Louisville, Kentucky, KD9CAS. Wow, this is nice. That 5145 is making it really, really well, actually. PageMaster. Jill, just wondering, did you receive my e-letter? If not, no biggie. What was the e-letter? PageMaster. And by the way, I want to say one thing about notifications. A lot of you have been ranting because they're saying, hey, I'm not getting your notifications when you post videos and stuff like that for a while now. Just remember that YouTube has stopped sending out email notifications for channels on YouTube. You can get, if you use Google Chrome, you can set it up that Google Chrome gives you notifications about your favorite YouTube channels, but you're not getting them through the email anymore. It's a change that they made. And you know what? It's interesting because my views are a little bit down this month, and it coincides with no more notifications through email. So I'm wondering if that has an impact on the views. People not looking at the channel because they don't get notification that something has been posted. So Kamaxi 76, I hope EQSL card is a big picture of Paul the cat. You'll see. Rohan, nice to have you here. Can you show your QSL cards? Okay, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to go a little quicker. We're going to go through because I'm like only 3 minutes away from the top, 3-4 minutes from the bottom of the chat. We're going to go through the questions I have to go through because I want to go through them today. And I've got some QSLs there if you guys want to see some of them and some of the stories with them. maybe we could end the show tonight with that. Would you guys love that? That I would have my little QSL card stories of the past. That could be fun, I think. So Rohan, where are you? By the way, Rohan. Artist Alley Crafter's Kitchen, Moscow Mailbag, Joe Adamov poem. You can do better than send us that letter and tell Joe that what you think of his show, and tell Joe what you think of his show. Yeah, it was like, yeah, there's a chance. A lot of the pirates are somewhere in the Northeast, I would guess. Even guessing that a lot of pirates are probably concentrated. A lot of them are concentrated in the same transmitter. But Dr. Sisop, 5010 should be WRMI usually. 5010 is normally WRMI at this time. So that might be what you're listening to, actually. But XNADX are a lot of the pirates on the East Coast or Northeast part of North America. There seems to be a concentration of pirates there. I think you're not wrong in thinking that. What else do we have? Keisha Escape. Is Jill secretly a pirate himself? I don't want to. I'm only going to talk to my lawyers. Chrissy Freitas, nice to have you here from Nashville. Actually cold tonight, so I have some hot green tea. Cool. Hey, try to listen to me, Chrissy. I'm on 5145 upper sideband. You hear me? Send a little note, a little email to officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com, and you'll get my EQSL. So if you hear my voice, 5145 upper sideband. Can you hear myself right now at 0143 UT? Thomas Olson, nice to have you here, Thomas. RJDA Dakota, a cup of hot green tea and a shortwave radio is a wonderful thing. I used to have a lot. When I lived with my long story short, when my mom and my dad separated, I lived with my mom for a while because she needed somebody to kind of restart her life, if you want. She would not have done it alone. So and I remember back then I had one of those jobs that you hate, that you go to work in the morning and you're like, yeah, oh God, I got to go to work today again. But you have to, because, you need the paycheck, because you need to pay the bills. Anyways, those nights, I distinctly remember one of the very cold winters we had. And I'm talking somewhere in the early 90s. I had really cold winter nights. And I had started a kind of a new thing. I would buy some really expensive hot chocolates from companies, from like these special companies, and I would buy my little boxes of hot chocolate, and there were little envelopes, and every night, my pleasure, when it's like -20 outside, one of my pleasures was pouring myself a nice big hot cup of cocoa, warm, almost like burning hot, holding the cup, listening to shortwave, looking at the snow outside, and just like, it was like a little moment of heaven. It was like, wow, this is my little me moment that I'm really, really happy. And it's so when you guys talk about hot tea or hot green tea, of course, when it's really cold, it's fun to have a cup of coffee, tea, hot chocolate. Always cool. Prasad, I didn't expect it on the other side of the globe, but still tried 5145, but nothing here. Yeah, the pirates are weak. Not a lot of power usually, so would have been surprising. I would have been amazed if you would have said, Prasad said, it's S9 here in India. I was like, what? At least you tried, and that's the spirit. I like that, because that is the spirit of radio. I always say, even if you think it's impossible, tune that frequency and check it out. You never know. I don't know how many times I was sure that it was impossible, and I punched in the frequency, and I was like, hey, I'm hearing it, and being amazed that I'm hearing that station. So, that's the spirit. Try it out. You never know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and that's the thing. Okay. What else do we have? Canadian Radio TV guys seems to be strongest on the Quebec SDR. I think Joel is hiding something from us. No speculations of any kind. I want to talk to my lawyer. Canadian Radio TV guy, pretty good 5145 in Northern Alberta. So pretty cool. Lecter Sysop, new PL 990, no 5145, and my Grundig Ethan satellite, nothing either. So it doesn't make it to Florida, apparently. Kamaxi 76, the reason there is very little delay on the broadcast is because Gilles neighbor drilled a hole into his apartment and is a pirate. That would be so funny. Shelly says, I love hot cocoa, but I hate snow. Well, okay, I love snow. I am one of those weird guys that actually, and it's every year, it's always a cause for a big conversation with people. So there's the people that like to go down south in the beach, go to the tropical regions in the winter, that like to have hot summers. I hate hot summers. I like summer, but not when it's too hot. This year was too hot. I like winter. I am a polar bear. I like winter. I like snow. I like being in my man cave when it's minus 30 outside and looking at the snow and listening to the radio. I'm a happy guy. I like snowstorms. So I am one weird guy. Okay. Chrissy coming in, I think, but really faint here and hard to discern your voice, unfortunately. Maybe I should sing or do some kind of a unique voice or a unique sound. I'm going to do something like woohoo. If you hear that through the noise, you should be able to pick it up. It's like one of those sounds that you're like, yeah, okay, it made it. What else do we have? Kish Escape. I love to sit outside in the snow alone at night with shortwave. Yeah, that kind of freezes your butt at some point, though. Oh, God. Shady Pyro Pirate is pushing at S7, closer to S9. Roughest Newt 5145 is a 0 here. Kish Escape. Occasionally play Gilles on my Pirate FM transmitter so I can listen away from my PC on 90.7 FM. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, Resh, the spirit of radio. Lauren Smith, absolutely. What else do we have? What else do we have? Dr. Sisop, if Pirate want more listeners, should be on AM. Yeah, but the problem with AM Pirates is it's tougher to get a long distance out of it. I understand why they're on single sideband, because they often have a much wider footprint. They get further away on upper sideband or on sideband in general. Sneaky. Nice to have you on board. 2 out of 4 in Boston, Massachusetts. Max Strong, love winter and cold, cloudy days. I like snowstorms. Matt says, I like snowstorms when they're happening, but hate the snow once the storm is over. Well, you know what? I have to admit that I don't have a car to shovel. So, Oh, yeah, that'd be good, Chrissy. So let's go for it. So 7, 7, 5, 0, 0. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. You guys hearing a number station now on 5145 upper sideband? That'd be good. Or your Alex Jones impression. Oh, God. So I was listening to Shortwave the other day, and there's this frequency where I transmit 5145. Apparently, it distorts the brain waves. So these are kind of unique things that if you hear me on 5145, you'll definitely know it's me. Oh, God. Dr. Sisop, one day soon I will put a fire drake on 6 megahertz radio Havana, as they sound so bad. Oh, man, imagine a fire drake over Radio Havana, Cuba. Or, a mess up. Like the other day, there was a mess up with the number station and Radio Havana, Cuba. Imagine a China Radio International doing a mess up, and a 10th China Radio International frequency has the fire drake. That'd be so funny. It's like, oh, look at that. A fire drake on the CRI frequency now. Nick just captured my smart SDR screen with OBS Studio on 5145. Simulcast by the Parrot. Good on you for the broadcast, whoever you are. So, yes, thank you so much. And remember, there will be a special EQSL, guys. Official shortwave radio at gmail.com. And basically, you will get a special EQSL. So, what else do we have? Jason Burnside, your S5 in South Mississippi. Canadian Radio TV guy, Brother Gilles on 5145 upper sideband, from broadcasting from the great Canadian province, Quebec, Canada. Oh, man. It's funny. I hear myself laugh. Chrissy got a bit of Alex Jones. Mongoose sounds like Gilles has gone worldwide and waking up the shortwave radio. Maxi 76, sorry, Gilles, but your Spanish number counting isn't as suiting as the Cuban numbers, lady. Yeah, I would guess. I would guess, especially since my Spanish is not good at all, anyways. But Christy says, unfortunately, I have my work computer on, so I doubt getting some noise from that. Yeah, computers. So maybe I should do some Brother Stare-like stuff. It's like, so the god of shortwave has decided that you shall all be tuning 5145 upper sideband because the Earth is only 6,000 years old and the flat planet is broadcasting shortwave signals all around it. That's so logical. So, Keisha escapes screaming to the mic like preacher terror. Oh, God, I'm not gonna speak. I'm gonna wake up my neighbors if I scream. Matt says, I managed to work a Zambian station on 40 meters with almost forgot to mention it. FT8 mode. Cool. That is really nice. You got to give FT8 kudos for that, for sure. Okay, some of the questions I want to go through really quickly. Okay. Question number 1. Sea Crane, CC Skywave SSB. This little thing here. The question that I got this week, once again, is why don't you put this radio at the number 1 spot of the best radios? I own one, and it is the most amazing receiver I have. I will say it's a good radio. It's surprising, and it's on the top there with some of the best radios I've got. Yes, but you know what? A lot of what I did. So we just have an ID now. Thank you, Psycho Radio, for broadcasting my shortwave show. It's much appreciated, and thank you so much. So the reason I can't put this on top is because the XH Data D808 is as good, if not better. And in the latest tests that I've done using just the telescopic antenna, actually, the XH Data seems a little more sensitive. So that's an important thing because it can make a difference between getting a signal or not. That said, it's nice. I mean, that speaker is small. It doesn't have that great of a range of frequencies for the audio, but it works. Honestly, if you get a C-Crane CC Skywave SSB, you'll get a good radio. I have no negative about it, and it's interesting because the more we go on and the more I talk about radios, the more I see this negativity sometimes of people that have a radio that I own, and because I don't say it's good or it's the best, they get kind of a little, I don't know, they get kind of in a defense mode or something for some reason. I have my opinion, and my opinion is based on a lot of radios. And when I say it's good, but I can't put it number one, it's good, but I can't put it number one. That's all. If you want to put it number one, put it number one. But it tunes like a DSP radio. If you hate chuffing, don't get a C-Crane CC Skywave because it actually mutes while tuning, like the XH Data mutes while tuning. But it's a nice radio, and I will give it one very positive point. It's nice to have a little shortwave radio that has the weather channels for North America. It's cool to have the weather channels. It's something that I like, that the weather channels are in there. For the rest, it tunes well, but it has kind of a feel and the same, you see that it's the same style of radio, the same type of circuitry, all around a chip, which is the same chip that almost every radio has, which is the Silicon Integrated 473435-ish chip, which is a radio. That chip is a full radio, AM, FM, long wave, shortwave radio. And it's what you do around it that depends what happens. And that brings us to question number 2, which is an interesting one that I would like an answer. A lot of you have been asking me, and this week I got that question, is why is it that all the DSP or digital signal processing based portables mute when you tune them? And it has to do with the way that the radio deals with the DSP chip. It takes a certain time for that reaction for some reason. I don't know why exactly. I would like to know why it has that delay in the tuning and it has to mute. That said, the question is, do you think a DSP radio could be tuned without muting? I would tend to think, if it's well done, that possibly yes. But I don't know. I don't know what makes the muting exactly. It's as if, that chip, when you tune the XH Data, when you tune the C-Crane on a single sideband, you notice that it actually takes a certain time, and these little arrows appear that says, well, wait a minute, we're getting there. It's because it has to send some firmware to actually enable that feature. And that's the time it takes for the firmware to actually get kind of programmed in. I'm wondering if when we switch from one frequency to the other, if the same kind of thing happens. The DSP chip needs to be notified that we're switching frequency, and so it gives a little delay. Sorry, guys. So I'm really wondering if that is a something you can get rid of, or if it's a design flaw out of the DSP chip itself. So that's what we would like to know. Is it a design flaw by the DSP chip itself? That's the question. If it is, then maybe there's nothing we can do about it, and everything based on the same chip will all mute. One thing for sure is that I think that's the reason why when you're in single sideband, that muting is a lot less annoying. It is faster to come back, but also when you're tuning in single sideband, maybe the frequency increments are smaller. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why it has to mute, and I'm trying to figure out, does it have to mute? Would somebody somewhere be able to do it and use that chip and have a radio that does not mute when you tune? That is a good question that I have no real big answer to, because I don't understand why. I don't know why it mutes, honestly. So I don't know. Okay, let's go a little bit in the chat, then continue on the questions. Chrissy Freitas, that's about as good Spanish I can remember. Forgotten most of it. I should talk in French. Bonjour et bienvenue. that will be clear. At least that will be good. Man. Keegan just tuned 5145 upper sideband on his dad's W9JEF ICOM IC7300 and W6 LVP loop. Nothing except noise. So maybe that's the thing. You're quite west. Keisha Escape. I heard the Seagrain Skywave SSB is same internal stuff as the XH Data 808, just with slightly different features. I wouldn't be surprised, Keisha Escape, because look, we'll be fair. We'll compare another one, and I will tell you that this radio, and Chrissy Freitas loves this radio, by the way, the famous Ethon executive satellite with SSB. When I tune this, and when I tune the XH Data, and when I tune the RadioWow, I have the impression that they are the same radio. The features are the same. The fine tuning looks the same. The feel of tuning around looks the same. It's almost as if the Seagrain CC Skywave SSB, the Ethon Grundig Executive Satellite SSB, the XH Data D808 all share a basic design that is the same, but it's the external package, the button, the box, that it's the circuits inside it. That's what makes it different. But if I tune around, if you would actually blindfold me and tune one of the three radios and play with the buttons, I would not be able to tell you which one is which one at all. At all. I would tell you, oh, it must be the XH Data D808 because they all sound the same. They all tune the same. They all exactly react the same. They all have the same delay. They seem to be, it's almost as if they have the same circuit board adapted to a outer case that is just a different box, because that's what it feels like. And that is very interesting. I tune these and I have the same feel on all three of them. So that's kind of interesting. Dr. Sisov says PL990 mutes also. Yeah, because it's DSP based. The PL990 must be using, I haven't checked it, but PL990 is DSP based. So it's using the silicon integrated chip. It's very simple. Everybody uses that chip. There's only one chip that does it all. Silicon integrated 4734, 4735. I have the complete spec sheet here of that chip because I wanted to know what that chip was all about. And I've purchased so many radios that are based on that chip. And it's getting more and more popular that the radios are built around that chip. Why? It's very simple. That chip costs nothing. You know what? They probably get that chip for like $1 or $2, and they build a radio around it. So the PL990 is DSP. They haven't done a new DSP chip for it. I can bet you that. Texan looked at the silicon integrated 4734, 4735, and he said, hey, that thing costs $2. We're going to use that and we're going to build around it. So the PL990 is built, I'm convinced, around a silicon integrated DSP chip. I'm sure of that. It's impossible. They did not design a new chip just for that. And nobody will design a chip for that. The company, the Silicon Integrateds, had a super idea in doing this. They did a chip that performs well enough to be a decent radio if you use it well. But at the same time, it could be a crappy radio, because some of the crappiest receivers I have here are also based on the same DSP chip. What is telling you that it's important how the circuit around it reacts and works if you want that chip to work well and to be a decent radio. So when the radio is cheap, the surrounding of the chip are cheap, means the chip pretty much works on its own with very little filtering, and it's crappy. Add more complex circuitry around it, get decent audio, get better reception, add some filters to it, and you know what? You get a decent radio. It's just that all of these mute, unfortunately, when you're tuning around. So it's pretty crazy, you know? David Bennett, why would radios mute while tuning? Yeah, it's I suspect it's on the way that the chip works. When you change frequency, the way, because the chip is a mini computer, if you want. And I have the impression that every time that you tune the chip, it has to kind of react to it, and it has a delay in there where it reacts to how to tune to that frequency you're going to be listening to, even if it's just a 5 kilohertz increment. That's my take on it. There were in the past some analog radios that would actually mute, but those were because of the kind of the circuit with the capacitors that would give a delay, that if you removed that capacitor, and there were some mods for some of these radios, remove that capacitor's reaction and there's no more muting, or it's very small. But here we're dealing with a radio chip that is kind of a computer at the same time. The DSP chip, the Silicon Integrated 4734, is a mini computer radio. So it's very, very different. Very, very different. Basically. So, you know, it's something that you have to check. What happened here back? So, you know. What else do we have? Someone posted, apparently. Where? Let me check it out. I never, you know, one of the problems with the chat room is there's some people that sometimes will post comments to a live show. And that comment to the live show is not showing up because it's on the YouTube channel, not on the chat room, you know. So that's something that's different. So I don't know what I haven't seen anything here. So, you know, it's a question of of just the way the chip works, I think. Darren Pierce, nice to have you here from Australia. Pretty cool. And by the way, anybody that's in right now, hey, Gordon Lyle, nice to have you here. I am live on 5145 upper sideband. Send me a reception report. Prove to me that you were listening in. And that reception report you send to official shortwave radio at gmail.com. Official shortwave radio at gmail.com. And I will be sending a special EQSL in the next few days. So, check it out. Thanks for Sicko Radio Pirate rebroadcasting. It's nice to have you. And I listened to you. Was it last weekend? I listened to Sicko Radio Pirate the last few days. And I always listen to tons of pirates and enjoy the content. So thanks for guys for being pirates. And whatever some think about it, I know some are not positive about it. But you know what? It's part of our wonderful world of shortwave. Thank God there are pirates. Arr! William Helms, some people are annoyed with the sound of static that came from FM mute on good stereos. You need everything open when tuning shortwave. Well, that's why a lot of us had one very simple comment. I had it from my brother. And the comment was, oh, you're listening to Nine Noise again. I'm sure I'm not the only one that got that comment. Listening to that noise again. Chrissy Freitas, sure love her elite executive. Money well spent. You seem really happy. And you know what? That's the important thing. It's a nice radio. I use it quite regularly since I have it. And it's nice looking radio, decent audio. Really, really nice. And it's really cool. VT Radio, I don't like muting either. That's why I bought an older Kato KA1103 on eBay. Works great. That's why if, I will always kind of, when and that's a question right now also. I want a radio that doesn't mute. What would you suggest? And my suggestion will be, get a Texan PL660. The Texan PL660 is an analog PLL. It doesn't mute. And it's a good radio. So get a Texan PL660. No muting there. If you find yourself, so the Kato KA1103 is the same as my Degen DE1103. Once again, analog PLL radios. They're saving money. I think one of the biggest problems with the future of shortwaves is it'll be more and more difficult to find a non-muting radio because anybody that will dare do a new shortwave receiver, they'll use that DSP chip because it's the cheapest way to do a radio today. If they had to do a complete design for a analog PLL receiver, it cost them more money, and they're not going to go there. So I'm afraid that the future of shortwave receivers, if nobody or there's no fix for the muting on the DSP chip, will be a future of muting radios. And I know a lot of people are annoyed at that. I realized one thing that I did not realize for a while when I would get radios until you guys started talking about how the muting is annoying you guys. And you stop at one point because you see people annoyed at the muting and you're like, I'm not annoyed at the muting. Why am I not annoyed at the muting? Oh, because my use of radio is different. You will be annoyed at the muting if you do take that, tuning and tune around the bands. Okay, now it's annoying, and it's annoying as hell. I totally agree. I never was much annoyed for a while because I would always punch in whatever frequency I'm trying. So I was not really going through the bands with the tuning knob. I was punching in frequencies. But if you go through the bands with a tuning knob, yeah, okay. That gets a little more that's where it mutes and it's not fun. Canadian radio TV guy, what's the difference between an old Ethon shortwave radio lineup and the new Ethon Elite lineup? The Ethon satellite is pretty damn good, isn't it? Uh it's, you know what? It's the biggest problem with Ethon brand is it's unequal in quality control. So when you get a Ethon branded radio, or even a modern Grundig branded radio, you're not sure if you're getting a crappy radio or a good radio anymore, because there's the quality control isn't there. So there are some old receivers, like I've got several Ethon and Grundig branded radios that come from Ethon. They're all the same now because Ethon and Grundig are kind of together. So it's a hit or miss. You don't know what you're getting, and you don't know when it's good or not. The Elite satellite seemed to be good, seemed to be well quality controlled. Maybe that's why they call it Elite. They decided to put them in a separate category or something. So you know it's a hit or miss in the Ethon shortwave radio lineup. Honestly, I can tell you that. Yep, they're all made in China, anyways. Even the Sea Crane is made in China. The Sea Crane is made in a factory by Retson, which is a shortwave radio manufacturer. I've got one Retson receiver here. I should take it out and make videos. But Sea Crane CC Skywave SSB is made by the Retson company in China. Jeff Barrett, I have a Sony ICF 7600JR. Don't believe it's DSP, but it has tuning mute. There are some analog radios, like I said, Jeff, in the past that have muting, but for a different reason. That muting comes from the AGC. So there's something called the automatic gain control. When you tune around, when you listen to the shortwave radio, to a radio in general, it's not just shortwave. There's a reflex, if we want, of AGC. So what's that reflex? That reflex is the circuit has to react to the ups and downs of shortwave broadcasting, and has to react to strong and weak signals, and strong voice and weak voices, and try to smooth it out if you want. Some AGCs, some automatic gain controls, are not well designed in older analog radios, and that slope of response is too long. That's what makes the mute in older radios. That is simply an AGC that has a slope that's too long. So what they do is the hacks or the mods that they have on the internet, they simply modify, they add a resistor here or remove a little something here so that that slope, that response time gets it gets faster. So it removes the mute. In a response, though, it might be possible that while you're tuning it, it just doesn't react the same and doesn't sound as good sometimes. But it's really the AGC on older radios that makes that mute. RJD Dakota, my PL880. I believe the PL880 is not a DSP based radio. That's why it doesn't mute. It's a PLL analog radio, the PL880. Where is the Belka radio available? I still never actually seen one. So the Belka SDR radio is that Russian SDR. It seems it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to find one. The Russian made one is extremely difficult to find. Dave, there's a blog post that I follow, and he's been looking at the Malachite or something like that, which is a Chinese ripoff or copy of it that is easier to find. But he does mention that the Belka is very difficult to find, for sure. Mongoose, Joel, I did the anti-chuff mod for the Senjin 803. Worked perfectly for 5 minutes. The radio no longer works now. Sorry to hear that. Oh, man. But, it can be. It's not the the mod itself that probably broke it. But, things can happen, unfortunately. Matt, going to read for a bit. So take care, my friend. And always nice to have you on board from Colorado. Hen, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Garen Lyles got me on 5145 upper sideband, 3 to 6 signal, audio okay. Pretty good. What else do we have? Jason Burnside says, my friends think I'm trying to contact aliens. That's fine. That actually is cool. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to find extraterrestrial life. Have a problem with that? Canadian Perry Shortwave. I'll soon review the Belka DSP radio, which does not mute and does use DSP. Yeah, but it's a different radio, and it doesn't use that chip. The Belka DSP is a computer, is an SDR, and it's not the same thing at all. The Belka DSP is like the RSP-1A that I got here in a box with controls. And so these are not DSP radios. They are SDR radios. That's the difference. When we talk about DSP radios, they're the ones that are based on that chip. The Belka is, yes, by definition, a DSP because it's based on a computer or a software-defined radio. But these are not the same. They don't work the same way. Jeff Barrett, I got a Texan PL680 and have both the PL660 and 880, and I think this is a far better receiver. The only thing I wish it had is the 880's bandwidth adjustment. Yeah, I like the 680. It has a little quirk in its AJC when the signal fades, but overall, I've been rather happy with the PL680, and the audio quality is really good. On the shortwave listening post, swling.com, there's a few posts where they compare the 660 and 680. Most of them are saying that there's not enough difference to move from one to the other. But if you don't have a 660, then just move directly to the 680. But the 680 is getting a little harder to find. I seem to be having a more difficult time finding one. Kisha Escape, thankfully for the ET tuning mode, you can go through the bands without the tuning knob, the muting knob. Yeah, that's true. Mike Anna261, nice to have you here. Jason Bernstein loves his Grundig Satellite 800. Cool. All right, FDXer, Sony ICF 7600JR. It is known to be one of the best, one of the great portables out there, that's for sure. Came this close to having one a few years ago. Lawrence Smith, I don't think DSP radios are meant for Sirius DX searching. No, untrue. Untrue. DSP radios on the, I'd say on the contrary. Well, okay, let's fun. So A well-designed DSP radio, I think, is as good and could be Sirius DX searching. But no, they would not with the muting they have. They would be more annoying than anything else for searching a signal. That, yeah, possibly. Steve King, SSB on PL990, a lot better than Samsung. The Samsung. You mean the Sangean 909? Well, I can't wait to get it and to test it out for sure. I'm going to be checking that out for sure. JD Dakota, an older Sony. Yeah, there were some a couple of well-known models actually. A couple of well-known models of the past that would mute, and most of them are now have mods to try to fix that. So kind of interesting. Alexandra, looking forward to the PL990 review. Gotta go. Take care. Always nice to have you on board. Garden, Joe just posted my catch of you on 5145 Upper Side on the Facebook group. Not great quality signal here. Cool. RJD Dakota, definitely looking for the review of the PL990, and with a little luck on Friday, I will do a live unboxing. Let's cross our fingers. Canadian Prairie's Shortwave. The Malachite radio is not bad as a portable SDR for DXing. James Johnson, are older analog shortwave sets getting harder to find? If they will eventually be harder, I tend to think they will be harder and harder to find with time, because if some manufacturers that do the analog ones, so for example, if Texan decides to stop, producing the PL600, PL660, and if the other manufacturers of analog PLL receivers are getting, are stopping production, that means yes, there's going to be a point in time when it's going to get harder for anyone to get a standard analog radio like in the past. Green Prairie Shortwave. Can't wait to see the unboxing on Friday. Woohoo! Keisha escaped, though, with FedEx could be another week. Well, I'll be ranting at FedEx on Friday if I don't get it. And there's going to be some people even worse. They're going to be mad. So I don't know. I'm trying not to put my hype up too high on it, so that if for some reason it's not all that I want, at least I'll still be kind of happy with it. I've had a lot of receivers here that were deceived, and here it's going to be put to the test. I mean, if any stations, if any FM breakthrough on that thing, here is the place where it's going to be tested. If there's some bad breakthrough, it's going to be bad breakthrough here, because this is FM breakthrough heaven. And the receivers that can't cope with it here are battered or like useless almost. So I'm hoping that it's going to be decent, at least for the price. And 400 Canadian dollars it comes to is it's a lot of money for a portable shortwave. I've been used to spending not much more than 100 to 150 Canadian dollars to a portable. I mean, in Canadian dollars, the XH Data D808 came to 135-ish. And it's, if you remove the muting, it's a darn surprising portable radio. We'll see. Can tell you that. Yeah, Keisha Escape. I'll look at that. I actually put batteries in it this afternoon and tuned around with the ETM functionality a little bit. Just for your enjoyment, I will be posting videos in the next week or so. So it's going to come. It's going to come. As we have. Canadian Prairie Shortwave was a bit disappointed 2 years ago with the 880. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Well, Mongoose, if you remove the muting, DSP isn't bad. But yeah, the muting and DSP, I have to say that fading in or out of signals is sometimes weird. That is an AJC problem, actually. Automatic gain control from the DSP chip seems to be funky, if you want. James Johnson, gonna try find a 70s or older shortwave receiver at yard sale or someplace like that, I hope. Gunner 66 tuned into 5145 on his PL680 in Saskatchewan and thought you were coming in loud and clear until I realized my phone was in my hand listening to this YouTube broadcast. Oops. Yeah, oops. Oh, man. William Moser, nice to have you here. So, going through quickly for the rest of the questions. One question this week, of course, is always that comes so often. If I have like $50, what would you buy as a radio with $50? $50. I'd get myself either a Texan PL 380, which is nice, or a RadiWow R108. RadiWow R108. Great portable receivers, sensitive enough to get most of what you want to get. Great radios. Plus, the RadiWow has a plus. It has several bandwidths possibility. And, well, actually, the PL 380 also. But has the RadiWow has airband, which the PL 380 does not have. So that would be probably my choices. Another question: if you have, what's the cheapest decent portable that has single sideband? I would say that goes to a non-muting radio, Texan PL 660. I think is one of the cheapest decent radio with single sideband on it. And of course, if you don't mind the muting, the XH Data D808 is in the second place, but it mutes when you tune. But it can be compensated. If you want to listen to the airband, it has the airband. And it has multiple bandwidths that the PL660 does not have. A PL660 has the airband. I just realized. So multiple bandwidths and would be probably the winner for the XH Data. Sensitive and good. But muting, if you hate muting, PL660, go for the Texan PL660. The XH Data does mute when you use that tuning knob. The other question that I got this week was, is the MLA30 loop antenna difficult to assemble and set up because of limited technical knowledge? You know, it's that's something that is interesting because it only when you actually use one and see others using it that you realize that what is simple for someone, it could be difficult for others. And I've had a few MLA30 comments and questions that when you look at them, you kind of look at them with, well, Okay, I thought it wasn't that difficult to assemble, but you come to realize, yeah, okay, for me, it's not difficult to assemble. And you got to realize that not everybody's on the same level. It's the same thing when I say, you know what I thought of an explanation that seems simple is actually an explanation that is not simple for everyone. It's not that difficult to set up, honestly. You just got to look at everything. I mean, everything is on the MLA30, the power inserter box, everything is pretty clear on, where to plug what. It tells you which connectors to the antenna, which connector goes to the radio. The biggest problem of an MLA30 is understanding that you got a little box and that middle loop goes on the screws on each side of the little box, and you have to be just manual enough to put that on a wooden stick or some kind of plastic PVC pipe. That probably is the most technical thing. It's not that difficult. You just gotta look at it, and if you have questions, just ask. We're gonna, maybe I should, because I've had a few people tell me. I had a few people tell me, that I should do a video that clearly shows how I set it up. Since I have one here, maybe I should do a video of how I installed it on a broomstick, wooden broomstick, for example, in my case. And one of the other things is, show how the wire that comes from the outside box where it goes on the power inserter and the power inserter connector from the antenna, and how to plug it and how to give it power and how to, maybe I should, to kind of try to help those that aren't as tech savvy as I am or we are, for sure. Jeff Barrett, Jill, did you see the new Texan H501? There's a YouTuber from China that has been demoing 909X and H501. I might jump on it when it comes available, price permitting. I have seen, there's actually even a, I have seen a guy that has a H501. And I have asked him what he thought about the H501. And his simple answer was, it's not worth it to pay that high price. It's not really better than the lower priced Texan receivers. He was happy with it, but he was not impressed with it. So, Canadian Radio, do you own Ethan? Do you own an Ethan Field? No, I don't. I don't have an Ethan Field radio or BT radio or anything of that kind. I do have the Grundig S450 DLX field radio, which is a piece of crap. I mean, when you leave a radio on the shelf for a month and when you come back, you can't even tune it. It's a piece of crap. And I know that the S450 DLX, for a lot of people, probably not everyone, it depends, maybe if it was done on a Sunday or a Friday or a Monday, but I did see a lot of complaints about people returning that S450 DLX. Mine is useless. It's there in the background as a it's just a radio demonstration to make a background that look nice with radios, because I can't even tune shortwave now with it. When I put batteries in it, I can't even tune around. If I start tuning, The frequency jumps all over the place and doesn't get anything. It's like a piece of crap. Joe says 880 is nice. You have to disable the muting and the hidden features. You can also turn on sync, but it doesn't work well. JDX GP5 SSB for $80. If only it had a keypad, it would be an amazing radio. It would be an amazing radio. I can tell you that. What else do we have? Trying to find my spot. Okay. Yeah, Texan PL365 is the same as the CountyCom GP5 SSB. Actually, the CountyCom GP5 SSB is a Texan PL365. It's made by Texan. Chris Powell, I have a Granic satellite 400 that I bought new back in the late 80s and still works great for the day. Cool. AE0IY. Dr. Sisop, PL660, 680, get FM bleed through. I don't like it. I don't have that problem here. I am in a high FM environment, and there's no FM breakthrough on shortwave on my 680 or 600. So that's interesting. And signals on FM are really strong here, and I have zero breakthrough of FM stations here. Brady Pyro 90 heard his name on the Radio Havana Cuba mailbag show. Cool. It's that time again already when they have the new pocket calendar. Man, they're doing it early this year. RJDA Dakota, clear signal on 6880. Look at that. Not hearing anything here. What else do we have? Check it out. Check it out. Going down, going down. Prasad says, I looked for the MLA30 on AliExpress and found that the shipping by DHL exceeds the costs. For the time being, I will be satisfied with my wire antenna. Yeah, that's weird. You know, depending on where we live, things are so different on trying to find a decent shipping sometimes on some of the devices we want to buy. You know, if you don't have a lot of noise, I will tell you one thing. Your wire antenna is better than the MLA30 probably if it's quiet. If it's noisy, then that's where the MLA30 might be better. Nick, 73. Take care, my friend. Kingman Public Access TV. Do you still have your W6LVP? How is the weatherproofing holding up on the MLA30? So, yes, absolutely. Both the MLA30 and the W6LVP are out there on the balcony. Both have succeeded to go through one winter. And they seem to be really holding up. Both the MLA30 and W6LVP. And I'll be fair, I'm more scared of the weatherproofing on the W6LVP than I am with the MLA30. So just telling you. Hey, Matt. Welcome back. Take care, Eric Cottrell. Have a good night. And hey, guys, we're going to call it off for the night. 2 hours and 45 minutes isn't too bad for a live show tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's always fun to be here. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll be back Friday. And let's cross our fingers that Friday we have officially for a live unboxing a Texan PL990X. I think that is something that is going to be a lot of fun. So let's cross our fingers. And of course, you know what, Kisha Escape? No problem there. You're not happy with what I do, just go somewhere else. I don't really have that much of a care. We're all having fun. That's the important thing here with radio. So stay safe. See you Friday. And man, maybe I'll have that box in my hand. Maybe for the first time, FedEx will not, goof up or anything. Thanks, everybody, for being great fans. Stay safe. Love you all. Okay. See you Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. 20 hours Universal Time. Bye.